From the Alvin and Rosalie Sarachek studio, PBS Kansas presents Empowering Seniors.
Welcome to Empowering Seniors. I'm your host, Katherine Ambrose. On this episode, we're talking about the National Aging in Place Council, and I have two phenomenal guests with me. I have the director of the NAIPC, Tara Ballman, and the rising star of the year, Mary Lynch. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks,
you.
Katherine.
We're so excited about being part of the National Aging in Place Council and having you come here to Wichita to talk to PBS Kansas viewers about what's going on across the country to support seniors in aging their way. Can you tell us a little bit about what the NAIPC is all about?
Sure, I would love to. So the National Aging in Place Council is a nonprofit trade association. There are about 450 of us across the country, and we're really focused on education, collaboration, and advocacy. So we're really focused on helping older adults and their families think about what it takes to age in place. And that doesn't necessarily mean the home they lived in their whole life. It's in their community. And maybe that is the home that they've been in. Maybe that's assisted living or memory care. And we're really built on what we consider the 5 pillars of aging, which is housing, healthcare, finance, transportation, and social engagement. So we like to think of that as a stool, and we need all 5 pillars of the stool to really have a plan, because if one is off, it gets a little wobbly. So a lot of people we find spend time on house care or healthcare or housing and forget about the transportation. And then when they don't have a way to get around, then their social life is impacted, and then that affects maybe going to the doctor or where they can live. So it's really important to plan for all 5 of those areas.
And then finance, because people worry so much, no matter how much money they have or don't have, they worry so much about outliving their money.
Yes.
So how do you address, say, finance and money concerns?
Yes, so we have a lot of members in the finance category, and we have everything from reverse mortgage providers, life insurance settlements, VA benefits, a lot of local resources and government resources that can help connect people with those resources that they may not have heard of before. So we really try to educate, not sell. We're not in the business of selling. We just want people to be aware of what the options are. And like a reverse mortgage, it might be good for some people and some people it's not. But we want you to have the knowledge and the power of education to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah, and not be sold.
Right.
Like you don't want to do 1-800 number and be sold on that. This is a very important financial tool. And like you said, it's not the best option probably for a lot of people, but for the people it's a good option for, like it can be the option that makes all the difference.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about why that is?
Well, just having, you've paid into your home and built up that equity your whole life. And so people are sitting on a lot of money that they could be tapping into, but they're scared for whatever reason. Maybe they want to leave money for their estate. There's actually products out there now where you can say, I want to preserve 20 or 30 or 40% of my home equity so that I can leave something to my heirs. But then they're able to tap into that to pay for health care, to pay for maybe the pharmaceutical needs that they would otherwise be skimping on. So, and transportation, and just, being able to access that additional little bonus, because things are so expensive right now. And I don't think people have planned in their retirement plans the cost of maybe in-home care. Even if it's just 4 hours a day for 3 days a week, those costs are astronomical. And so they're thinking about how they're going to pay for these things. And there should be a lot more options and other than moving in with a family or relying on a neighbor to take care of us. So using that home equity is a great way to give yourself a little bit more freedom and independence.
Yeah, because some people can live in their home a lot longer because they've accessed that equity.
Yes.
And so it enables them to stay there longer. So you really need to talk it over with a professional and weigh out all the options for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And there are actually new products out right now. There's a HELOC for seniors that just came out 3 months ago. So if somebody is a little bit leery of a reverse mortgage, maybe the HELOC is a better product, but just knowing what they are.
And HELOC, tell us what that stands for.
Yes, home equity line of credit. Sorry, reverse mortgage lingo. But yes, it's like a home equity line of credit. So with a reverse mortgage, you don't make monthly payments. With a HELOC, you do, but they're interest only. So it's a little bit safer. There's no balloon payments like with a traditional bank line of credit. So there's a lot more flexibility coming out in the market when it comes to tapping into home equity.
There's some benefits for being age qualified.
Yes.
The government has made some of these products available, and the market is addressing it, and things are changing all the time. And so the reverse mortgage of years ago is not what is available today. And then some people are using it to purchase with the HECM, a home equity conversion mortgage. So you can use the reverse mortgage process to buy a home that's going to be a better living situation. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's a great way if you're right sizing into your home that you can really save some of that cash instead of putting it all into a down payment for a new home. And a little trick that people don't realize, if they just put a little bit of money into a line of credit, when they do the purchase, that line of credit is going to grow, just like the equity in the home is going to grow. So they can have a little, I don't know what you would call it, surprise. If they ever needed it for a surprise or a diagnosis or an accident that happens, they can still tap into the equity in their home, even though they have a reverse for purchase on the property.
That reminds me too, you live in California, not too far from where all the fires were, and people that had a reverse mortgage on their home had huge benefits because they could still tap into that money even if their home was gone.
Absolutely. That was a great benefit of having a reverse over a traditional bank loan, because those home equity lines of credit were frozen because the asset was gone, where with the reverse, those homeowners could still access the funds, could still take care of themselves, and you know, it was a lot easier for them than some of the other homeowners.
For sure. And gosh, sometimes, education comes out of tragedy.
Yes.
And that you are just a ray of sunshine.
I appreciate that.
Was so excited to meet you, I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And you took us up on this idea of launching a National Aging in Place Council in Baltimore.
Yep. And Katherine's actually the reason that I found out about National Aging in Place Council. In my community in Baltimore was just really lacking community resources, sort of a one-stop, call someone, right, and find out all of those opportunities within the 5 pillars, right? So it has just been such an amazing opportunity to blend education with socialization and then sprinkling some fun, right? Because we don't want to beat folks up. Maybe they haven't lived the best life over the last couple of years. We don't want to tell them all of the stuff that they're doing wrong. We want to tell them how to start today living the best so that they can, just really be the best that they can be in the final quarter, right, as we say. So for us, it's educating opportunities, all of these amazing financial pieces that most people don't know, right?
Right.
We have health options. So many folks are just waiting for a crisis, and that then takes you where you don't have any options left. So it's been just such an amazing ride to be able to not only bring this to my community, to educate myself and my family, and we are really doing some great things out and about to make Baltimore really amazing.
So you're doing a lot of advocacy,
We
and
are.
you have inspired a lot of other senior services professionals to follow you into this mission. And so you really are making difference, because Baltimore, Kansas, we have like unlimited land.
Yeah.
And we deal with a lot of the same challenges with housing that other cities do. But in Baltimore, you're talking about
ADUs. We are very limited on housing in Baltimore. And so, folks didn't necessarily plan. And so we are thrilled that I was a part of earlier this spring, part of a mission in convincing the legislation that we really needed, right, to have make it easier for folks to be able to have an ADU on their property should they need to.
I don't think in Kansas we know what ADU is.
Okay, sorry. Accessory dwelling unit, and that's really just a second house contained or a second residence contained on your property. For years, you can have a basement in-law suite, right? You could have a Happy Days, Fonzie, right, was over the garage. He's like the original, the OG of the ADUs. But it really gives so many options. In our area, folks are overhoused. They're in that family home that they bought, that 5-bedroom colonial that they bought because it was in the right school district. Now they're in there and they're clogging up the inventory, whereas they could move family members into the main house. They could have a wonderful little granny pod out back. They could stay in the main house and maybe put a caregiver out back. So it really is opening so many wonderful options in our area.
It's a way they can make money on the property that they own.
It is.
So they can think about how they can divvy up the property and have someone living there that could be caregiving, which would save a lot of money, or they could have a family member or someone else who is helping support them financially because you've created another living space.
It just opens up the ability to have those conversations, right, on what that next chapter looks like. Should you stay? Can you modify? What else you can do? And so we just love having options for folks to give them as many resources as possible.
Yeah, and your passion just really comes through. And so you're just like the perfect person to have launched this. And you selected her to be Rising Star last year because, tell us why.
Well,
what did she accomplish?
She went from having a brand new chapter to being the 3rd largest chapter in the NAIPC organization. And she did that just through education and getting out there and promoting proactive planning. So thank you for everything you did, Rising Star.
So in our empowering seniors world, you've been national news because of what you've accomplished in Baltimore by taking NAIPC and the 5 pillars and really taking it to heart.
Yeah, it is so heartwarming. My journey started actually as a caregiver, and during that time, I had my kids were at home. I was lifing, and it felt like such a chaotic and stressful time for me as a caregiver. Fast forward and being able to reflect back, it was really some of the greatest moments of my life. I'm so honored to have been a caregiver for the guy that was everything to me in my life. That was my grandfather. And so this is just such a surprising piece that my life has taken me to. And the honor is just being able to carry on this legacy in honor of someone that meant so much to me that I cared for.
What did you learn through that journey of caring for your grandfather?
Catherine, that list is so very, very long. What I learned is that if you're not in the healthcare industry, right? I had been born and raised. I was in the Baltimore community for, at the time it was almost 50 years. And when you have that crisis, you don't know what to do. And I'm watching that almost on a weekly basis with folks that I know in the community that are crying out for help and aren't aware of resources that are available to them. So what I learned is that so many people don't know what's out there. That's where that marrying of, here's this person that was in real estate for 30 years, and now what is aging in place, right? And how that is married, and being able to say, I have access to all of these community resources for anyone else in that caregiving situation. The other part, as we know, is caregivers really need to take care of themselves, right? And so I remember those nights where I was so stressed out and waking up in the middle of the night and not sure, who to call, what to do, where to go. And so that's been the blessing and the full circle honor of my grandpa's legacy, is that I then get to champion for other folks in his position.
What was maybe the hardest kind of aha or tender moment that you had in caring for your grandfather that maybe made you realize the enormity behind the task you took on?
That's easy. Decades in real estate, and this man that meant everything to me was in his underwear in my dining room on a rented bed, right, with no full bathroom on the main level. How was I not aware? Casually throwing out a term of forever home almost at every closing, right? Congrats, forever home. None of my family members were in forever homes. Very few people actually are. So the aha moment was standing there knowing that, you know, if love could do it all, right? I had that, but how much easier it would have been had I just known and planned a little bit more to have the right house for him to stay in.
So you realized you didn't have the right environment for him.
No.
And you wanted to care for him, but
Absolutely.
the house was limited.
Yeah.
So what now that you've learned all this, what does the forever home mean to you?
Well, definitely a full bath and a full bedroom on the main level, and at least one entrance where you can get in level ground, right? And that can be, if you're going to do a ramp, I highly recommend something you do in a garage so that it's not advertising to the community that there's someone in the home with a disability potentially. So that's really the basics. Of course, there are grab bars and handrails and some additional items. But for me, the basics, I will never live in another home again that doesn't at least have that bedroom, bathroom, main level, and entry.
So even for first-time home buyers, you would probably say, look, you never know. Your most beloved family member might move in with you, or you yourself could have an injury even for a time that makes it impossible for you to stay in your own home.
Yeah.
And so first-time home buyer, you would tell them, find.
Well, and it's true, you know, we still do have that housing situation, but at least for me, it's having that conversation of, you know, oh, you're going to be having a baby in a couple of months. How, you know, do you want grandma to visit, right? How about other family members? It's always good to just, you really have no idea. There could be a car accident. I have friends that, you know, even young folks, right, that maybe temporarily need some living arrangements on a main level. So certainly want to at least have that conversation, you know. Because of the housing shortage, sometimes they're not able to find that. But by me saying that to them, sometimes it strikes a little thought, right? And then we go into a different direction for housing.
Okay, so at least gives them some food for thought.
Sure.
So they can think about that, or think about adaptability, what they could maybe do with a particular home, because visitability is really important. And so what does that mean, visitability?
Well, visitability is really the allowing access for anyone to come into your home on the main floor level. So just making your home more visitable for anyone to stop by and see you, whether they're older, younger, children in a stroller, just having access to the first floor of your home.
So since kind of our Empowering Seniors efforts, which has kind of evolved into Senior Home Coach National Network, how many chapters have been opened and where are they?
Oh, wow. So we have about 12 chapters that are existing now. Of our 450 members, probably 2/3 are in chapters. And because of the Senior Home Network, we have 18 new chapters in formation.
Wow.
And it's everywhere from Oregon, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, just all over the place. It's very, very exciting.
It is exciting. I'm so excited about all of this goodness spreading. You know where we don't have it? Kansas. So why should people in Kansas think about getting together to start a chapter?
Well, I think it's just supporting your community here. At NEIPC, we've identified 85 different service sectors within the aging in place marketplace under the umbrella. And it's one of those situations where unless you're in this industry, you don't know what you don't know until you're in a crisis situation. So this is really a way for all 85 people, 85 different service sectors to come and educate you on planning, pre-planning, having a plan when that plan might fail, and really supporting the community through education.
So 85 is a lot, but give us an idea of some of the types of industries that would be involved to support a chapter?
Sure. So we have home care, in-home care, hospice, transportation companies, elder law attorneys, doctors, even the social aspect of things, social clubs, churches. Who do you have in your chapter,
I know.
Mary?
Well, I just love all of the new ideas where I didn't even know these services were available. You wouldn't believe how many folks come to home, right? There's in-home dentists, there's in-home podiatrists. You can get your nails, hair, all that good stuff done. But wound care, you know, the statistics of how important it is. Don't take your loved one with an open wound to somewhere where they could get more germs, right? The goal is to have someone come in and treat that. So that's really been fascinating. In our area, we've had some larger groups join. One is our local gym fitness center. They have 12 locations, and they are really doing something to empower seniors, right? To everybody living their best life. So they've joined, and when we're having seminars, they come in and do our exercise break. We've had restaurants in our area that do no senior eats alone. So they're very passionate about bringing folks in and making sure that they put them with someone else if they're dining, so that they're not eating by themselves. So one of my favorite parts of or realizations from opening the Baltimore chapter or starting that is really learning about so many community members that are passionate about serving this industry.
And functional medicine. I know that you have
Huge.
someone that's really involved that's a functional medicine physician.
Yeah.
So what has that meant to you, learning about functional medicine?
It's changed my life. And it was actually here in Wichita with Dr. Ray a year ago that I actually said, you know what, I think that's something that I need in my life. Went back home, found a functional medicine doctor, and now I've been blessed to be able to share him through the NAIPC. We've done some seminars. People are so hungry for hope, for options, right? For things that they can do to live better without getting another prescription that they don't know that's going to work or not, right? And so I just love being able to share different options within our community for functional medicine, right? There are some things that you can just do by making healthier choices at the restaurant, right? And that feels very good to be able to share that with my community.
Absolutely. And there's other modern medicine approaches too, in addition to your insurance physicians and the doctors you already see, to branch out and get other opinions. Like they've literally told us that our whole lives, get a second opinion. And so finding a holistic physician maybe that doesn't take insurance is a good way just to make sure you're covering all your bases and you're learning about things that might be a little outside of the box as far as insurance companies are concerned, but could really make a world of difference in your health.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What educational resources do you have for the public?
Oh, so we have quite an array of resources, actually. If you go to ageandplace.org, which is our website, you can have a downloadable version of our Act 3 planning guide. And that's a 26-page checklist that really walks you through all 5 pillars of aging. And it's not all-inclusive. It's not going to have every question you could ever ask about housing, but it will have enough for you and your family to get the conversation started. Sometimes a lot of the discussions are uncomfortable, and the more we talk about these uncomfortable conversations and the earlier we talk about them, the easier they will be to have. So you can get comfortable being uncomfortable with the Act 3 planning guide. And then we also every year publish books during Aging in Place Week, which is October 13th through 18th. And Mary is an author in our newest book. So I'll let you talk about it.
I know, right? What an opportunity.
Congratulations.
Exciting, right?
Did you ever have this idea that you would be a published author someday?
Never even imagined, but I have to tell you, going through the process was so wonderful that I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Very good. So it's really quite fun to having these connections from California to Baltimore, Washington, D.C., down to Florida, Texas, everywhere. And it's really taking a village to make these things happen. Just really proud of the work that you are doing. There's so few people across the country nationally that are focused in moving the needle and making aging your way even more possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are excited to be leading the movement of aging in place and just helping educate people across the country. And I love that we do have the 5 pillars. We're not just siloed into only dementia or only Parkinson's. We are bringing everybody together to have this conversation, not just nationally, but in each community and region as well.
Yeah, and you're partnered with other organizations too.
We are.
So what are a couple that come to mind?
Oh, well, the CSA Certified Senior Advisors, we have a great relationship with them, and they're very much an education-based organization. And then we have, just the local resources for nonprofits in a lot of our local chapters, like Chicagoland has a lot of local nonprofits. I don't know if you have any in your area, but it's certainly something that we love to partner with those as well.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much for the great work you're doing and for traveling to Wichita, Kansas to be on the Empowering Seniors television program.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for watching. If you have questions about the National Aging in Place Council or any of the topics that we cover, will you please give us a ring? Our phone number is 316-686-4500, or you can email us at empoweringseniors@kpts.org. I'm Katherine Ambrose, and I'll see you on the next Empowering Seniors.